because I never even tried it. Cause I finally figured out how to use. It feels difficult to me, you know. You guys ever do it the same way like I did? So as long as you guys think that they'll be the same, like I said, it'll be difficult to understand things. From like after when you outside during the seasons like spring, summer, like go out, like you need to use a hand sanitizer in case that or even wash your hands too. Like,
hey guys, we'll get started in like 2 minutes, okay?
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. That's great.
yeah.
I went for a walk today. I took my really heavy coat and my heavy down cap and my down gloves, and I went for my walk, and it was wonderful.
Wow.
It was a beautiful day
As
out.
long as you're safe, did the road clear up for you?
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. A little bit of
At least
ice.
it's fast. It's faster than I expected, which is great.
Yeah.
Part of your journey that's something that you could learn about throughout your own path throughout the years, and you could learn it by creating your own destiny.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I got sick, Bobby. I remember also like last night when I have a dinner from Chinese food that when I have open a cookie, like one fortune cookie, it's like some words are like saying, it's like when I read it, it's like before I get ready to do my new classes in spring semester, you know, it's like something like for your own future is to create.
Right.
It's like things that's.
Go ahead, Brian.
So I forgot what the words are saying, so I know what like few words are like, you know. That's how.
Save them. Don't throw them away.
Oh
jeez. Put them in a box.
I throw the garbage outside as long as this one remembers me. So.
You to write them down before you forget. That's how I do them.
I know. I get it. So.
All right, guys, we're going to get started.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to ask everybody to turn your microphones off, please.
Okay.
Except Lily. Lily's not allowed to turn it off.
No.
No.
Okay.
Unless she's going to do her speech in sign language, but we didn't practice that or rehearse
No.
that.
Okay, I'm turning it up right now.
Yeah, so everybody please turn off your microphones. Okay.
Enjoy your speech, Lily.
Thanks, Brian. So, all right. So, so thank you guys coming today, especially for my students making the extra effort as we did an extra week of Stage Fright Intro to Public Speaking. And thank you for doing that for Lily. I know she really appreciates you guys being supportive and being great classmates. You guys were terrific with each other, giving feedback. Lily did the same thing for you guys, so really appreciate you guys coming out. And my staff and Laura and Marion coming out today. And we have Lily's sister as well. And secretly in the background is Lily's family that you can't see on screen. So you know, so they'll be making faces at her and all.
Probably will.
But they're not allowed. They're not allowed to do that, Lily. Or, you know, or I'll fail them from class.
You guys got
we
you
don't
that?
want to do that.
I don't want to get a family.
You know back there?
Okay, here.
But you know, today is conclusion of our conclusion of our class. So it's a conclusion for Lily. For Lily, it's her speech. It's conclusion of 14 weeks of working on a speech, coming up with a topic, doing research on it. Researching, even interviewing family members when it came to her speech or topic. And it's also about practicing and rehearsing and getting feedback from the classmates. Brian was great at that. Bobby was great at that. Andrea, and so were Adrian and Josh, who couldn't be here today. They were great as well as getting feedback on that. So it encompassing all these things that she's done all semester. And also for audience members, guys, so you know, Lily's being graded today based on her speech presentation. So some of the things that we do for everybody that did their speech, I have no doubt she'll do great, is on volume. She's going to be taking on her body language, eye contact, and the content of her speeches. At the end of her speech, when she's done, oh, Josh is now approaching. Hey, Josh, how you doing? Hold on. So, and we'll give Josh a second to connect. So I'm glad he could make that. Awesome. Josh, can you hear us? Hey Josh, how you doing?
I'm good.
Hi, Josh.
Lily do her speech?
Oh, we're about to get started, so I'm going to ask you to turn your microphone off if you can. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Josh. So I'm actually starting the introduction and the kind of the rules and everybody. So thanks for coming, Josh. That's great, even better. So now you have another person, Lily, to do your speech in front of. So even more pressure on you. I'm just kidding, just kidding.
So if I go up, sorry, I tried to join on my computer, but it was having all types of problems. So I'm doing this on my iPad.
No problem, but yeah, just Josh, can you turn your microphone off just so we can keep going? So thank you, Josh. So thank you very much. Awesome. But at the conclusion of her speech, Lily will also, part of our grading is also question and answers. So she's welcomed the audience members to ask questions, obviously give her some feedback and so forth. You know, one of the things we talked about, and I know some of you guys who've been part of these audiences, I'll mention this same story again, is I had a student who was taking Raritan Valley Community College speech class last March. It went completely remote, and he's wants to be a lawyer. So being a lawyer, you have to speak in front of people, and he's terrified of speaking in front of people. So then he took the class, it went remote, and then the rest of his speech class was them videotaping themselves doing a speech. And by the end of the semester, he handed in his videotape. Of course, he videotaped himself. He edited it, changed it around, and it was perfect. And he got an A in the class. And I said, that's great, awesome. You got an A in the class, but you didn't learn anything. You didn't learn how to talk in front of an audience. You didn't learn how to make eye contact, answer questions to people. So you're going to have to take a same kind of class again because you didn't learn anything. So I knew as we were doing this semester, not knowing how the pandemic would work, that no matter what, if we were doing it remotely, and Lily took the class remotely all semester and did great with that, is that she was still going to have to do live remotely. And we had another student, Adrian, who also at the end did it remotely. So we want to give that experience. And as all my students will attest, it come from week 1, where I made them all stand up in front of the class, or in the case of Lily, stand up remotely, where we just stared at Lily for 5 minutes uncomfortably. And Josh and Bobby and Brian and Andrea can all attest to that, of how uncomfortable that was, to now it is 14 weeks later and being able to do the speech. You know, we had speeches range from 15 minutes to over 20 minutes in this class. So I'm excited to have Lily do her speech today. So just some rules for my audience members. I thank you for turning off your microphones. So I'm going to ask you to keep your microphones off throughout the speech. Lily will also be presenting some of the things that she talks in topics, because when we do it live in class, we usually have a table set up. But throughout her speech, she's going to present some of those items that you would normally do. So, but at the end of her speech, at the end of our applause for her, you guys can ask questions. I'm going to ask you just to raise your hand. I'll call on you, each one of you, and she welcomes that opportunity to answer questions and so forth. So here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, the big part. So Lily, give me a thumbs up when you are ready, ma'am, and then I will do an introduction. So are you ready, Lily? Are you good?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, I got the thumbs up going. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, and I will ask my remote audience members, you can do this if you want, is on your screen, if your computer or phone will allow you, is they have a speaker view. So if you want to just have Lily on the screen, you can hit your speaker view and I have Lily strictly on screen. Lily is not allowed to do the speaker view because she needs to see every one of you all looking at her. So, but I appreciate you guys, your attention in coming here today. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is Lily Doyle giving our last speech for Stage Fright Public Speaking. Her speech is entitled Living with Type 1 Diabetes. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Lily Doyle. All yours, Lily. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm Lily Doyle. I'm 20 years old. I was born in California, but I was raised and grew up in New Jersey. I love music, YouTube, having time to myself. I'm a girly girl, and I love Broadway. I went to see Mean Girls with my mom for one of my birthdays. Hamilton is one of my favorite musicals that I watched with my stepdad and my mom, and I loved it. I also have type 1 diabetes. I'm going to talk more about my diabetes with all of you. I was 14 months old when I was taken to the hospital and was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. My mom was sad and scared to take care of me because of how sick I was. After sitting in the hospital for 12 hours, the nurse came into the room and did a blood stick and found out my blood sugar was over 1300. We found out normal blood sugar is about 100. It's a miracle I survived. My family was super sad that I have type 1 diabetes. Even my stepdad, John, told my stepsisters, Amanda and Emily, about it. They knew about it for a very long time. I got diagnosed at age 1, 19 years ago, when I was a baby. It was hard for me and my family, but it makes me stronger than ever having it. And in type 1 diabetes, the body does not produce insulin, according to the American Diabetes Association. There are two types. 1 in type 2 diabetes. In type 1, the pancreas stops working and you need insulin to keep you alive. In most bodies, the pancreas makes natural insulin. You need insulin to process food. You can get insulin through shots or an insulin pump. I get my medicine, which is my insulin, through my insulin pump through special tubing that me and my family insert into my body. According to the Mayo Clinic website, type 2 diabetes is a chronic condition that affects the way your body metabolizes sugar, an important source of fuel for your body. With type 2 diabetes, your body either resists the effects of insulin, a hormone that regulates the movement of sugar into your cells, or doesn't produce enough insulin to maintain normal glucose levels. Type 1 diabetes is rarer than type 2 and is often confused as being less dangerous than it is. However, I have to check my blood sugar numbers every single day, and I mean every single day. It shows me and my family what my sugar is at. I have to be careful with my food intake. In fact, there are multiple medical supplies I need to use every day to live a healthy life. For most of my life, I've had to use a glucometer to check my blood. I had to prick my finger with a needle that what me and my family call a bammer. A tiny drop of blood is used in a tiny machine to tell me what my current blood sugar is. For the last year, we have switched to a continuous glucose monitor known as a CGM. I have to wear it on my arm. You can't see it. There you go. Through Bluetooth and a sensor technology. This is my receiver. It shows me what my blood sugar is, and it says right now that I'm 275. There's a graph underneath it that shows where the numbers go. So I always know what my blood sugar numbers are, so I don't have to sick myself all day every day. I do have change the site every 10 days, and it does really hurt. The good news is my family follows the app, so they always know what my blood sugar is too. This way I know. This way I'm not alone dealing with it. Starting at the age of 2, I began to wear an insulin pump on my body to give me insulin. The first 2 years of my life, I got all my insulin through syringes. My family has to inject me with insulin when my blood sugar went really high. There are other things I need for my diabetes. I have to drink an apple juice whenever I go low. I need something sugary to get my numbers up. Cake icing is what my mom gives me whenever I go to a super dangerous low blood sugar number. This is Rufus. This is my diabetic bear, Rufus. Rufus is my diabetic bear. I have had him since I was 1. He has patches all over him that mirror where I need to have my pump site on my body and where my CGM site on my arm. I have to wear a medical alert bracelet on my wrist. Rufus has a matching one too. His is in silver. While mine is rose gold. If I go out somewhere, I have to wear it so someone know I'm a type 1 diabetic and they can help me in case of a medical emergency. I have to put the number in of carbohydrates I'm eating in my insulin pump to figure out how much insulin I need. Having type 1 diabetes, you have to do hard math. You have to divide, add, and subtract carbs and numbers. I have been through a lot of needles in my life. I had to go through shots in my arm, checking my blood, CCM site changes. Having it, you have to be super careful with your body. I have to make sure my blood sugar numbers are steady and not going anywhere. My body gets super sensitive, which can affect my blood sugar numbers in different ways. There are things that affect my diabetes that I should be careful with. Sugar, exercise, illness, and my sleep patterns affect my blood sugar. There is a lot of different symptoms. One of them is being overly thirsty, having fruity breath. There is a certain type of smelling breath that's a natural fruity type of breath when you go low. When your numbers are low, you can feel fatigued, hungry, or you feel sweaty. And you can get blurred vision. But you have to hold your head high through all of it. You want to manage this illness as carefully as you can. There's another medical supply which is called a glucagon injection kit. All diabetics carry it around with them in case there is a medical emergency of extremely low blood sugar. It is used when passes out or has a seizure from low blood sugar. My mom once used it on me because I had a seizure from low blood sugar. I wrote a poem about it for my writing class I took here at the Achievement Center. It's called One Morning. One morning I was in bed. One morning I turned a ghost pale. One morning I was in the ambulance. One morning I was in the hospital. One morning I had an IV in my arm. It hurt a lot. One morning I was super scared and freaked. One morning I felt so bad for everyone involved. One morning wasn't fun. At least I had all my loved ones with me. Thanks for listening to my poem. This was a traumatic event that happened to me. My family was scared and sad. I was also sad and scared myself too. My family always made sure I had a nurse helping me in school. But even nurses don't always know how to treat a type 1 diabetic. It reminds me of one of the events that happened to me at my senior prom with a nurse there that worked for me before. There was an ice cream bar. I was having it. After I was done, she told me to go dance on the dance floor instead of giving me insulin, which I needed. she made a bad decision and got fired for doing that. It takes a lot to go through all of this. It will make you and your family tired and wiped out from all of the craziness. You also have to respect it too. My mom, Catherine, says it's the hardest thing she has ever tried to do. The stress, the fear, the concern for my health can be overwhelming. Diabetes controls my whole life. When I see others eat whatever they want, it makes me upset because I can't have that. But it makes me happy and grateful that my insulin keeps me alive. I just keep reminding myself I'm not alone and that others go through it too. I go through mood changes or mood swings almost all the time. I think my diabetes is unfair to me sometimes. I want you to know that I have strong skin. I want to be a self-advocate for myself and others. It's super important to be a super strong voice for type 1 diabetes. I also want to educate others on this, that they may not understand what it is. And I want them to hear from a type 1 diabetic that lives with it. I also give money to fundraisers, like I did for my birthdays. Thanks for listening to my speech. I hope you liked and enjoyed it.
Round of applause. Awesome job. Awesome job. I had to turn my mic. Great job, Lily. Great job. Great job. Awesome. Awesome.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Great. Awesome. Lily, I want to tell you, you spoke for 14 minutes, which is fantastic. Great job. Fantastic. Awesome job. Awesome job. I love this. This was, a difficult subject matter for anybody to talk, but it was something that was really passionate for Lily to express. And full disclosure, especially our students know this from our class, is probably the last time that Lily tried to do this speech, she broke down and got really upset, and she couldn't get through the poem that she had wrote. And so forth, and just shows that the determination of her. And we actually talked about, me and Lily, of taking the poem out, and then she came back to me and she said, Bob, I really want to keep it in, and I want to keep practicing, and I think I can do it. And I think that's a credit to Lily in talking about it and sharing her life experiences. A lot of our students did that through their speeches and so forth. So with that, another round of applause to Lily. So with that, let me open it up to my audience members. If they would like to ask a question, please raise your hand, and we'll go around the room. If anybody have any questions for Lily, Marion, and then I'll come to you next, Laura. So.
Okay. Lily, first I want to tell you that I was very touched by your speech.
Oh, thank you.
Heartwarming, and I felt the emotion that you had for it. And you were very clear. I could understand what you were saying, and that was very important to me. Of course, not only did it show me how this diabetes affects your life, you also gave me tons of information on how you are dealing with it and how you can control it.
Yeah.
And I love your Paddington bear. I love this Paddington. And I do have one question. You said you needed to exercise. What kind of exercise do you do?
I try to do like cardio exercise.
Okay, like what?
Like running or walking. I do a lot of walking around my house.
Okay. I think that's really kind of good. I swim and I walk.
Yeah.
I don't like any other type of exercise, so that's why I was asking you.
Okay.
But you did a great job, and it was very nice meeting you.
Thanks.
Take care of yourself.
Great, Marion. Thanks. Great questions. Laura, you're next up. So.
Lily, good to see you.
You too.
First, I want to tell you I'm a type 2 diabetic, so I can definitely relate to a lot of the stuff that you were saying. I have a friend who also is a type 1, so I've seen it kind of from both sides. And, everything you expressed is, things she's expressed and I feel about how difficult it is and how unfair it is and what you really want to eat versus what you can eat.
Yeah.
And I agree with Marion's comment. You give a lot of information. So, for people who don't know that much about diabetes, that was great. So I have 2 questions for you. Before you were on the pump, how many times a day were you checking your blood sugar? I mean, not the pump, on the
TCM. Um, 10, I think. Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot.
And that really hurts your fingertips, right?
Yeah, I have stuff on my fingers on it.
Yeah, I mean, I know my tips get sensitive, and I tend to do just one hand because I'm right-handed, so I do it on the left.
Yeah.
Do you remember how old you were when you had the seizure?
I was 19.
Oh, so it was recent.
Yeah, recent.
And did they determine that was from a low blood sugar?
Yes, yeah, it was a hypoglycemic low blood sugar seizure.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you did obviously well because you're here with us, and I wish you continued success in managing your blood sugar. And if you have a bad day, just remember tomorrow's another day, right?
Yeah.
None of us are perfect, and we got to have those bad days every now and then.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Great job, Lily.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Laura. Great questions. And great job answering those. Josh, go ahead. You're next.
All right, so Lily, about that bear you had, how old were you when you first got it?
I was 1 when I got it.
Oh, wow, so basically your whole life.
Yeah, my whole life. Yeah, the hospital that I was in gave me the bear. I was
Oh, wow.
smaller than the actual size of the bear.
Wait, you exercise with the bear, you said?
Yeah, I was smaller than the bear.
Oh, wow.
Good
That's
question.
really... that bear is really sentimental to you, isn't it, Lily?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's nice, really.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's a great question, Josh. In a way, it's a little bit like an extension of you, too, Lily. I think
Yeah.
It's probably the best way to kind of put it. Great. Bobby, go ahead.
First of all, my bad, Mr. Hulit.
No, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, second of all, Lily, how many years right now, to the past, how many years have you had diabetes for? Type 1 I'm talking about.
I've had it for 20 years in my life.
20 years?
Yeah, 20 years.
Okay. That makes sense. I had a friend of mine who had diabetic, and when he was I don't really know, but I had a friend of mine who's older than me that has diabetic, but he lived in Edison a while ago, so
Oh, wow.
he controls his blood sugar and things like that, so that's
Yeah.
something to work around,
Yeah, true.
Yeah, great question, Bobby. So, who else? Anybody else have another question? Sure. Andrea, go ahead.
Lily, first off, good job on your speech. You really were great. I can't imagine, all the things that you went through, and especially that scary time you had. Also, I love your bear. It's cute. I just want to say that also. I can relate.
Thank you.
I'm obsessed with plushies. So my question is, if you talk to anybody about diabetes, maybe who else is going through it, or maybe like to learn about it, what would be your advice to them?
Ooh, my advice would be to know that they're not alone and that others go through it too. And actually, I have a friend that's also a type of diabetic. Her name is Hannah, and I've known her since high school. And I would say that to her, I would say that she's not alone because she has me, and that we have each other to always like stay in touch and in contact and talk about it, like vent.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great, Lily. Great quick question. Awesome.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Lily? Laura, you got another one? Follow? Okay. Pressure's on. You got another question. Okay.
Yeah, actually, it's not a question. I realized, your speech is very personal to me. So I was commenting on the content of the speech,
Yeah.
but I didn't really comment on your delivery of the speech, which obviously is part of the reason why you're here. But I just wanted to say that I agree with Marion. You spoke very clearly. You had a smile, so your delivery, even though you were talking about like a serious thing that kind of sometimes upsets you, that, was obvious you're passionate, but your smile and your attitude and the way you, held yourself and you were reading your papers, but you would look up and look at us and then read your papers again.
Yeah.
So I wanted to comment on that as well. Great job.
Thanks.
Great. Thanks for doing that, Laura. Absolutely. So anybody else have any other questions? No pressure, no pressure. One of the things I do want to say, Lily, is, part of it is also doing the speech, which I said was 14 minutes, but you've also answered questions for close to 9 minutes as well on top of it. So it's really over 20 minutes that you're done your speech, which I think is fantastic. As a professor, one of the things I like to say is, it was a serious subject matter, and I think Laura even mentioned it before too, just you had some light humor in it. And I love that you being able to show and display the different things, making good eye contact. Your volume obviously was great and so forth. And it's not always easy when you're showing something and then going back to a speech. Somebody who does speeches all the time like myself, that's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
And I love, just sharing the different devices. And one of the things I think for all of our students, but especially for you, Lily, is your own knowledge, but you also did research. And I think that's really important, guys, when we're doing speeches or doing anything when it comes to academics, is research is a really big part of it. But I thought you did a fantastic job today. Your bilanguage was great and so forth. And, and because Lily couldn't do it last week, but she was determined to be able to do it. And I love that poem. Lily, it was the timing of it when that happened, and she, had that episode. And it just happened to be the time that the following week we had to write a poem for one of my classes, and she was in. And she immediately took a real event, which is not, and was very fresh, and wrote it. And I thought it was a terrific poem, and I love that she added that to this and so forth. So Lily, you did a fantastic job today. A round of applause, everybody, to Lily. Great job, Lily. Release your air because you did it. It's over with and stuff like that. So fantastic. I want to give an applause also to my audience members coming out today. I really appreciate it, especially my students. Their semester is over, and Bob drags them back in for one more class. And I'm happy to. Bob. I know that, Bob. God. And since everybody here, Audrey will be joining us in Club Friday Night Hangout. What Leah always does is,
Everybody's gonna roast you.
No, geez, I don't know if I can even take that. So, look what Audrey's already coming with bad ideas already. It's not a bad idea. I actually kind of like that idea. That's actually a pretty good idea. So
I'm writing it down, Bob. I'm taking notes.
I know, Laura's. There goes my staff taking notes.
For our staff meeting.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. So we're gonna steal it from you. You guys did a fantastic. Yeah, you guys did a fantastic job all semester, and oddly enough, everybody from this public speaking class is also taking Creative Writing 1 with me. So it's the exact same class next semester. So you guys are stuck with each other for one more semester, and more importantly, you're stuck with me for an entire semester. So torture, yes, absolutely. Yes, homework nonstop, guys, and a lot of writing. So which is. Getting that creative side of it. You guys are all very creative, and I think you guys are gonna have fun with that class. But you know me, I'm gonna work you, absolutely. So, but I think you guys did a fantastic job, and Lily, awesome, and and so forth, especially, just how you just, put a tree behind you. I love that. How'd you do that? That's amazing. It looks so real. It's virtual, but it looks so real. I can't believe it. Yeah. I will tell you for the class, if you guys want to hang out in this virtual room and hang out and talk, I'll leave it open to you guys. If you guys want to do that, you don't have to stay or not. So my staff don't have to stay. But I appreciate Emily coming to see her sister and be an audience member, and her mom and family that's behind
behind
the computer is there. So, but work done today, Lily. I will email you this tomorrow. Your official grade for the class.
Okay.
But I appreciate you all. You guys did fantastic semester. You should take a round of applause and bow for yourself. Great job. And most importantly, guys, be safe and healthy. Have a wonderful holiday. And before you know it, you're back in my class, and I'm giving you work to do. So there you go.
Happy holidays. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Like
All
as
right.
soon as you say something wholesome, you mentioned work right away.
I know, right away. So, but the best part is you get to leave here without any homework. So,
That's true.
so there you go. So, but like I said, you guys can hang out and talk.
Yeah.
Even if we leave and stuff like that. So, not uncommon what we do for Club Friday Night Hangout. So, again, Lily, fantastic.
Thank you.
Great job. Very proud of you guys and proud of you all. Proud of my staff as well. And Emily, it was nice to meet you.
Happy holidays.
So, I should have given Emily
Still,
homework.
Marion.
So,
Still, Marion.
all right,
I
guys.
hope you stay safe well, and then I'll see you in spring semester, before my class is starting for the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, looking
All right.
forward to it.
You guys take well, be well. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you,
All
guys.
right, have a great holiday.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Oh my God.
Bye.
Okay.
Happy holidays.
Now,
Hey, Bobby, let's send